I'm Dr. Thompson Akwo, the editor of Health and Development magazine, and we are in the Washington, D.C. Convention Center as part of the National Council on Social Studies Annual Conference. With me is?
Theresa.
Nice to be with you, Theresa. You are from where?
Gwam.
What do you teach in Gwam?
U.S. history.
U.S. history. Why is history one of the social studies?
In our island, we teach all the subjects: U.S. history, world geography, as well as world civilizations. But U.S. history, being part of Gwam, we are a U.S. territory. We have a lot of history that includes being part of the U.S. Pearl Harbor, the bombings, and things like that also affected us. So we teach it, and we try to teach in perspectives. We try to teach our local culture, our local history, as well as the U.S. history, and try to bring them together.
Lots of your students know that they are citizens of the United States. They carry American passports, but they may not know that they may not be voted as Americans, or they do not vote for the President of the United States. They may not know that though they have a representative in the Congress, they don't actually vote. So what will you say in the form of teaching to your students out there in Guam vis-a-vis the civics studies we are having in this conference?
Well, that's something that we try to make clear to them, that we are U.S. citizens. However, we do not get to vote for governor, or I'm sorry, not governor, but president. We can take standpoints and things like that, but in the end, we don't get to do certain things like vote for president. We have a congresswoman, but she doesn't get a vote in the House or the Senate. So she's basically here. She has her office here. She gets to have her input. She gets to meet people and try to make friends and lobby and things like that. So they know about that, and that's something that we try to make clear, because we constantly have new people coming in, especially from the outer islands, the Asian countries. They come in, and that's something that we try to teach, and we try to make that firm and known, especially in this past year with the election. That's something that we've really been focusing on.
There is a session that is titled Elections Over What Now? The elections are over. We have a president-elect. How do you think that his coming is going to affect your students who may have fears about some of the things he discussed during the campaigns?
I think from Guam, when we watch it on the news, reading up on all the information happening with the election, they are aware, so seeing some of the negative things that were said by Trump himself, but they know that that there's a process in hand that that the president has to go through in order to make changes and make policies. So I think that they're still learning. They're aware. Some are afraid, as they should be, because not everybody in our school are U.S. citizens and things like that. But at the same time, we're trying to make them as aware as possible, so that they can also go home and they can educate their families and things like that.
Finally, what is it that you're benefiting from this conference that you're taking back to your school in Guam?
This is my first time to the conference. I've really been enjoying it. It's different to see a lot of different perspectives, especially on this side of the world. We're 24-hour flight to get here, so for us to come here, it's a privilege, and it's an honor to be able to see the different types of teachings out here. A lot of it deals with diverse cultures, and even though we have different communities in our area, we can still relate when it comes to diversity, because that's our struggle, is trying to get all the students engaged in learning and to find the best possible practices to get all of them to be able to learn.
Finally, there is a session that talks on gun violence as a public health problem. You've been listening and watching the news and seeing lots of people shot, and I'm sure the children in Guam also see that, and they may want to hear from their teachers. What is it all about, this gun violence and public health problem, and what are your own suggestions as to solutions to this problem?
Well, it just so happens right now we're going over a Bill of Rights and our amendments and things like that. So they know the right to bear arms and things like that. But I think that when they see the images on TV, of course they're going to take a certain stance, because it's portrayed to them in that. But I still think that guns and healthcare and things like that are needed for protection, but being responsible and with it, and learning to be responsible is the key when it comes to owning weapons for protection or healthcare. Having healthcare is important because you want to make sure that you're able to take care of yourself, take care of your family if anybody was to be sick and things like that. So we're trying to teach the importance of an education, if not an education in college, to go into the workforce and be able to support your families as well as yourself in the best way possible. So that includes safety, that includes healthcare.
Thank you very much.